Have you ever felt like a total fraud, even when you absolutely know your stuff? Or maybe you feel like your brain only really boots up late at night? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the chaotic, messy, and surprisingly relatable truth about what it really means to be a genius.
Okay, do me a favor, just for a second. When I say the word genius, what's the first image that pops into your head? I'm willing to bet it's something pretty specific. Maybe it's someone in a lab coat, or, a super calm, confident expert who just has all the answers, right?
Yeah, you're probably picturing that classic stereotype. Someone who speaks perfectly, never hesitates, doesn't seem to have a single doubt in their mind. They're the kind of person who can just walk into any room and bam, they own it.
But what if I told you that image, that polished, perfect picture we all have, is basically a fantasy? The truth about how a brilliant mind actually works is so much messier, and honestly, way more interesting.
See, we're sold this idea that intelligence is supposed to be this polished, perfect, in-control thing. But the reality? It's messy, it's chaotic, and most of all, it's just human. And that's where things get really fascinating.
So let's get into it. We're going to break down 7 of the most surprising habits that show what's really going on inside a brilliant mind. And hey, be honest, some of these might sound a little familiar. Let's start with what is, without a doubt, the biggest paradox of them all. The #1 habit of so many brilliant minds isn't that cool confidence we just talked about. Nope. It's the exact opposite. Deep, nagging self-doubt. And this quote it nails it. Think about it. That same incredible brain that can solve the most complex problems, it's just as good, maybe even better, at convincing you that you're not smart enough. It's such a cruel twist.
And this isn't just a feeling, the science actually backs it up over and over again. High performers constantly feel like they're faking it, while folks with less skill tend to think they're awesome. So why is that? Well, it's simple. The more you know, the more you become aware of the vast ocean of things you don't know. So if you've ever felt like an imposter, congratulations. That feeling might be the single best piece of evidence that you belong in that room.
Okay, so that's the internal battle, but that struggle is often made worse by an external one. Habit #2 isn't about what's in your head. It's about what's in your DNA. It's that feeling of being totally out of sync with the normal 9-to-5 world. A whole lot of highly intelligent people are just hardwired to be night owls. Their brains literally hit their peak performance late at night, way after most people have called it a day. And let's be super clear, this has nothing to do with being lazy. It's a completely different biological clock, one that's always fighting against the standard workday. All right, let's move on to #3. Now, this one's going to sound a little weird at first, but just stick with me here, because the science behind it is pretty incredible.
They talk to themselves, out loud. It's a real thing called private speech, and it's not some strange quirk. It's actually a high-level thinking tool. The best way to think about it is like a programmer talking through their code. For a mind that's always buzzing, speaking thoughts out loud helps to organize them, to work through problems, and to focus. The conversation has to happen, even if they're the only one in the room.
And that constant internal monologue and sometimes external monologue, it leads us right to our 4th habit. And this is a big one, a really common side effect of having a high-powered brain.
A high IQ very often comes packaged with higher anxiety. Their brains are like these super-fast simulation engines. A simple normal thought pops in, and whoosh, the brain is already running 10 different simulations of how it could all go horribly wrong. It's an amazing threat detector, but it's also the reason so many brilliant people find themselves wide awake at 3 in the morning. Sound familiar?
This brings us right to our 5th habit, what I like to call the paradox of memory. And this one is for every single person out there who can explain a super complex concept but has absolutely no clue where they put their keys 2 minutes ago.
So what is going on here? It's not a bad memory. It's just a busy one. It's all about where the brain is choosing to spend its energy. It's so focused on wrestling with those huge abstract ideas and running those disaster simulations that the small stuff, the mundane details, they just get pushed to the side. The keys will show up eventually. That new connection between 2 ideas, though, that feels way more important right now.
All right, habit #6. This one might honestly be the most surprising of all. It has everything to do with language, but probably not in the way you're expecting. Yep, swearing. Studies actually show that people who have a more colorful vocabulary tend to score higher on tests of verbal intelligence. But why? Well, it's because for them, every single word is a tool. They have such a deep understanding of language that they know exactly which word, even if it's a 4-letter one, is going to have the most impact in that exact moment.
And that brings us to our final habit, number 7. This one explains how all of that intense internal processing power actually changes how a brilliant mind experiences the outside world.
For a lot of smart people, the world can just feel like too much. It's too loud, it's too bright, it's overwhelming. And look, this isn't a weakness. It's a direct result of a brain that is literally processing more data from the environment at any given time. So, of course, a crowded room feels intense, and sounds are sharper. It's why they often crave quiet, controlled spaces, not because they're antisocial, but because their brain is already running at 100%.
So, let's step back and put all these pieces together. We've got self-doubt, late nights, anxiety, forgetfulness, even swearing. What does this messy, chaotic, and very, very human picture of intelligence really mean?
Here's what it all boils down to. Genius doesn't look like a superhero in a cape. It looks like a human being. A brilliant one, sure, but one who's also tired and anxious and is constantly battling self-doubt. It's the person who can figure out an impossible problem and then immediately forget where they put their keys.
And I really want to leave you with this thought. Being smart isn't an easy ride. For a lot of people, it feels like a lifelong battle against their own mind. But understanding these things, seeing them not as your personal flaws, but as the natural side effects of a high-performance system, that can change everything. So, my last question for you is this. If any part of this felt familiar, if you saw yourself in this portrait of chaotic genius, how does that change the story you've been telling yourself about who you are?